Welcome to Soft Bites Podcast. Your life, your dentistry. We talk about ways to have more fun and meaning in one of the coolest and most rewarding professions in medicine. Conversations on how to bring awareness, create a healthy workplace, and provide emotional insights to make dentistry a fulfilling activity while making space for one's wonder, creativity, and freedom. Here are your hosts, Manuela and George Andre.
I'm very excited for this podcast today, aren't we, Manuela?
Yes, hello everyone. Welcome to Soft Bites Podcast. Hello, Andre. And today we have a very special guest. So welcome, Mehy. And Andre, you do the honors.
I was really looking forward to get this guy on the podcast because we've been talking about how cool is the stuff that he's doing, isn't it? It's so fresh. It's so new. It's exactly what I think that the kind of vibe that dentistry is needing. And we were talking about that we need this kind of stuff in pre-grad education in dentistry. But of course it's about consciousness in dentistry, is about creativity in dentistry, is about
joy,
balance,
also.
Joy in dentistry. But the way that this guy is one of the co-founders of Global Dental Collective, the way that they are doing it is so sexy and so attractive. It's so cool. So I'm really, really excited to have Mehy Lo Presti. Did I say that right? Yeah?
You said it perfectly. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming here. Really, we are so curious. Of what is inside that brain that was able to have this vision. Really, I'm so excited. I'm so looking forward to this.
My wife says the same every single day. I would like to be in your brain one day. You know, I was like, I'm not sure that's a good idea, but yeah, I don't know. It's no secrets here.
So cool. So tell us a little bit about your background and how did you end up in dentistry?
So I have Middle Eastern dad. My dad is Palestinian. So as I don't know if you know, but there are only three ways in Asian Middle Eastern family. You can be or a doctor, or engineer, or a failure. And I was being like, I asked my dad that I think I want to do fashion illustration. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to do, I don't know if you know fashion illustration, all the people that they do the sketches for in fashion for the big firms. And then obviously my dad looked at me like, okay, I don't know what I've done wrong, but yeah, we don't do these things. So in your free time, you can do your painting and your photography, but I think you need a real job. And he's a doctor, as he says, he's a real doctor. So for him, I don't think I was an option for me to do medicine. He didn't see me like studying so many years. So he said, look, dentistry is a good profession. You'll have free time. For what I can see, they work very little and they make a lot of money. So you'll be fine. And then in your I don't know which TV show he saw, but probably he had in mind all the dentist with a Porsche and I'm working 3 days a week, and so yeah, so then I said, you know what, I'll listen to my dad. He must know. So this is where I got into dentistry, and it was hard because I don't think it was my profession. But I learned to love it. I learned to get my creativity into it. As I always say, and a lot of you probably heard this a lot from a lot of people saying, wow, in dentistry is full of so many creatives and people that they have a lot of creativity. I think dentistry is a profession full of artists. They were not brave enough to become an artist. And decide, I'm going to do dentistry. So yeah, this is how I ended up, and then it started my career, and loved it. Did all the specialties I could because I didn't know what I liked. Ended up being prosthodontist / restorative dentist here in London, but always throughout all my career, always had a project aside, and you can name it. There was always something that was in my head to parallel to dentistry.
So let's go on Global Dental Collective. So what's the story behind it? How did you create it? Not alone, we know, but how this came up? Global Dental Collective and Dentorama, because I'm really looking forward to hear how this was born.
So Global Dental Collective started just as an experiment. My best friend and I, my best friend, he works in music. He does music studios in shipping containers, and he has a record label, organizes festivals, and we always shared, the dentistry needed a shift. Dentistry was could be very toxic, and dentistry, and especially healthcare events, they were very, very boring. So then we kind of wanted to create an event where we're not talking about anything clinical. We were talking about how the healthcare provider could be the best version of himself. This was like 4 years ago when we were like on the beach talking about this vision of creating this events, and we were going to talk about postures. We were going to talk about mindset. We were going to talk about breath work, all these kind of things that are now very fancy and sexy, but 4 years ago they were still coming to the surface, right? So we wanted to bring this into the industry, and then happened the opportunity, and our paths crossed with Joe Lovett, which is one of the most well-connected people in the UK dentistry. He's not a dentist, but he's in the industry. And he had in mind to do some kind of debate and bring people together and discuss different topics. So I just had something in my mind. I had an image of this very dark room with lights to the center, with 4 people debating podcast style. Maybe you can see it now in some podcasts, and then people surrounding the scenario. But there were 2 requirements: is that the people it would always be above the level of the speakers. So I hate going to places and just looking up to someone, and then you might fall asleep. So everyone needed to see each other's faces, and there always needed to be an elevated surface for the audience, and the speaker was going to be in the middle, almost like a Roman circus. And then we were going to talk about anything. We started talking about sustainability, about social media, about mental health, and we created this magic room with 150 people. We brought 12 of the most brilliant dentists in UK. And the fun thing is, no one knew what we were going to do. That was the first event, called the debate. So it was a bit hard to explain to people what we had in mind, and even it was hard for me to my team to explain them what we were building. We had just a warehouse, and that's it. We had to hire the chairs. We were building everything from scratch. And then happened one of the most magical events ever. We created without knowing, we created an ultra safe space where people started sharing very deep stories. Some people, they were sharing even their darkest moments in their life. And we were managing it all with a tempo of music, of lights, of voices, and the magic happened. And we didn't know, but people were like, okay, this is what we need. We need a space where we can open up, we can share, we can discuss everything that we can't discuss in our workspace or in the media or with our patients. So that's how Global Dental Collective was created, and then we had to continue. People were asking for more, so we did another one, and we were trying to change things all the time. And after the second debate, people were like, okay, what's next? So we had to twist. This is the problem that we had, that we always needed to innovate in whatever we were doing. And this is why it's one of the reasons that you can go through our Instagram and you can almost see like layers of what is being happening, because every time we're changing and trying to bring something fresh. So I try to bring people from all the different industries. So there's people working with us from fashion, from theater, from there's people from music, and everyone brings whatever they got from that field. And this is why probably you can see that blend of different fashions and industries. And Dentorama was, it came to us the idea of creating a theatrical debate, which exists in theater, where the actors, they're interrupted by the audience, and the audience basically decides how the scene will finish. So I had to bring this to dentistry and shift it with an educational side, because we wanted to show the reality of dentistry and what happens in the rooms. But we also needed people to learn from it. So this is where I had to bring a panel of experts that could basically talk about the comedy that they just saw and the craziness that we can all relate, because happen in our day-to-day. So that was the idea behind Dentorama. Dentorama was a drama, which is real actors playing real life scenarios that happen in a dental clinic. It's all in a comedy, all written by the super talented Nicole O'Neill, which she's an actress and theater director. And now she's actually a dentist. She has the heart of a dentist, because she needed to learn what is behind the psychology of dentists, why a dentist would be so greedy, or why would try to fraud an insurance, or why would do more than what the patient needs, and why would treat a nurse in this way. So we're just not monsters, and that's it. No, that's what she thought. She's like, Mehy, I have an issue, and I'm starting to think that all dentists are psychopaths, because what you send me, all the problems I'm going through, this is not normal. But I had to go through her for hours and hours of conversations and trying to put her into the psychology of all this super stressful and demanding profession. And after months of work, we had these amazing actors. They played an incredible show. We had almost 400 attendees at the Braille Institution, which is one of the most amazing venues in London. And now we're doing it again.
So you talked about that the audience was asking for more and more of these events. So were you surprised with the reaction of dentists? And so far, how do you think that people are reacting to something so new?
So I think people were missing something new. They were a little bit bored of going to the same kind of conference all the time. So in a way, it was, it's sad to say, but it was a kind of easy to surprise them, because they've been seeing the same for the last 20 years. So I think it was always a bit of lack of creativity on all this kind of events or get together, and probably, I don't know, I think also the big companies were taking us for granted. But I have to say, it's not easy. Like when we started, we were bold. We didn't have to prove anything, and for us, it wasn't about. We were just experimenting. And when you want to collaborate with companies and you want to when you need to comply with some specific expectations, then it becomes harder. So it's great. It's great what we saw. It's great that we people found it amazing, and I think it was just a white canvas where the ingredients were the great ones to create the atmosphere. And luckily, what I had in mind, it happened exactly how I planned it. And but I mean, you've run events, and it's almost like almost a lottery. So things didn't even go that well. We had always an echo on the voices, on the microphones. The lights were very dark. Like now I see the recordings of that first event, and I was like, wow. I mean, I don't even know how we put that together. But maybe that's why people were like, say, it feels so cool, no? Because it was almost like very cozy and very like, what the hell is that? It's actually even an event. And the good thing is that also, which that makes a difference, I have to say, we run very, very good parties, which, to be honest, was the reason of all of this. We were like, we do very cool parties. Should we do something for dentists? And then, but we needed to create some kind of reason for people to go. If you just put like just summer party, people were really like, I'm not sure, even though everyone wanted to go for the party. But we needed to create some kind of, knowledge. So the reality of the fact that the debate and Dentorama is just an excuse to throw a party.
Just before we go on, Jorge André is going to be one of the panelists on the next one, right?
Yeah, I'm so excited, and I mean, I would have loved to have you too, but I think you had some commitments, Manuela. And basically, I knew you already, Manuela, as you know, and Jorge André, I knew his clinical skills, but not his this part of his skills or professions. And when I heard him I actually heard him first time at a podcast with Jazz Gulati, cool. And I was like, wow, this is so cool. I told you, I'm kind of terrible podcaster listener and a terrible online follower. I'm actually the worst online person in the world. But that got me engaged for the whole hour. And it was actually very refreshing. So that, as I said, okay, Jorge André, I need you to come and share your wisdom.
I saw the videos of the party, so I said, I have to go there. That was the reason why.
I know, to be honest, is that the reason everyone comes that they don't want to say it. Everyone is like, no, I want to go and learn, open up. But the reality is that people just want to dance till 3 a.m. That was the reality.
Mehy, going back to, I was telling you, that safe space that you mentioned, I think it's so much needed in dentistry, and dentists are really desperate for it. And you can see, me and Jorge, and they also see it on our conscious leadership course. We see from the moment that safe space is built and that dentists start sharing, you feel the energy of the room changing, and that's very special. And I'm sure you get a lot of requests for help and guidance from colleagues. What do you think nowadays are the main struggles of dentists, and can you tell us a little bit about that? What are the main struggles of dentists nowadays?
I think it's going to sound like topic answer, but social media, it's making things very hard. It's a very interesting tool, and I always say, like, it's a blessing. So much information that you can get in seconds, but sometimes it's too much. And there are a lot of things that I think you shouldn't know yet. And it's like life, no? You need to burn steps and different tires in your life to get to wherever you are. So if you're exposed too early to some stuff, it might put too much pressure on yourself, and you might not allow yourself to make mistakes. And this, for me, is one of the only way you can grow in life. It's true that dentistry, I always say, doesn't allow you to make a lot of mistakes because you have a patient, but making mistakes on understanding where you can be better, where can you improve your communication, where can you make someone feel more comfortable, how can you manage expectations, because when you manage these expectations, you actually can do the dentistry that and you can then start not over promising. So it's very hard for a 23-year-old seeing all this fake reality that we are all posting. We all do, and I always say, it's just social media. You need to decide who you are in social media. Which actor are you going to be there in that parallel world? And as far as you know that, then things might go better. But if you want to think that whatever you see is actually what is happening in real life, and then you actually try to put it in practice in your life, you are going to fail. You can't deliver these results every day. You can't have a perfect life every day. You can't having a super green smoothie and eat in the best restaurants every day, So that is very hard for me, and I'm so glad I didn't have social media when I was a teenager or a kid, because I wouldn't be who I am right now. And I personally struggle a lot with social media. For me, it's been like hard to manage. I at some points I lost the reality, the point of grounding and see where I am, and then I kind of like felt anxious because I wasn't in that level where I should be, apparently, or I wasn't making so much money, or I wasn't going to Maldives enough times of the year. So so all of that was for me like, oh, am I actually doing enough? And at the end of the day, just realized that was making me happy is arriving home and sounds very typical, but open a beer, have a conversation with my wife, and not to have to think about anything in the world. And when I actually do these disconnections of 2 or 3 weeks without social media, honestly, I'm another person. So that for me is I feel bad for this young generation that they have to have this in their life, apart from dentistry, which is the highest expectation possible that you can have. You're not allowed to make mistakes. You are an entrepreneur from day one, something that we don't understand yet. We think that we work for someone else and that's it. But this is not true. We are entrepreneurs as any other business, and it's already hard enough to add that ingredient of expectations and fake lives, as I call it.
Yeah, that's very interesting what you said. The guy from NVIDIA, I don't remember the name of the guy, he says that the only way that what most companies need is people with character to deal with the really difficult stuff. But character can only be built through struggle, right? So it's very paradoxical, because in a way that confidence comes from struggling, and struggling comes from mistake and from suffering. And I think it took me about maybe I don't know, maybe 40 years of my life to realize that actually struggling is good, doing mistakes and feeling ashamed, all that thing that really looks awful when you're going through. But when you come out on the other side, that's when you can actually see how beautiful that is, and that's what makes you. And so a little bit out of the script that we had for you is so. Can you name a few times in your life where you really went through difficult times, whether professionally or personally? Do you remember some? I mean, you said that you live in different countries. I'm sure that was not always easy, right? And then living in Madrid, a Latin lifestyle, and going to London, for example. I really struggled in London. I worked in London. I did the Clean Dent where you at King's, and then I started to work in London once. 1 week a month for about 2 or 3 years. And I remember that I left here, it was sunny, and I would get in the plane, and then I would wake up in London when everybody was in the rush everywhere. That was a struggle for me. It's difficult. So in your profession, do you remember what were the things that you struggled the most with, and like really hard stuff that really affected you? Can you, professional or even personal, if you want to share it, that
Sure.
were important that made you rethink and made you become more humble and more conscious? Can you share that?
Yeah, of course. Well, the first days always the first days are hard, and I have traumas with first days. And my name is very difficult to pronounce. So I grew up in a very Spanish town where we are all Fernandos, Franciscos, Pacos, Joses, and then it was Mehiar. And every first day of the year, they were passing the list. And they were like all through Andrea, Miguel, Jose, and then they were stopping on my name. And there was a silence for seconds, and the teacher couldn't pronounce my name, so everyone was laughing. And I always had that trauma of like, oh no, I don't want to have the first day where I just want to pass that moment of presenting myself. And that was since I was very little, till all my life. So every time I was starting a new job and something new, and in the first years I was like, even introducing myself to my patients, were like a bit like, I always had like I have to introduce myself, and I need to say who I am, and I don't want to answer uncomfortable questions. And but that made me realize, and that made me love myself way more, and go through a moment of like, you're Mehy, you're here to help people love you, and that was happening, at the end of the year, where I had more friends than anyone. And so it was just that moment, and I had to go through that every single day of my life at the beginning. And coming to London actually helped me, because no one is from here, right? So everyone has weird names, and probably I had the easiest name, Man Pound. So I was like, great. So London helped me on that, and the weather is very bad, but I started to realize that now in the last years. In my first years, there was, meeting so much new people, doing a lot of cool stuff. It was hard to get into the industry, but I was kind of young, so I didn't care much. It was like a bit more bold. But then COVID was actually a good moment for everyone to stop and reflect. But coming back from COVID was hard for me. Coming back on those conditions without being able to practice dentistry as you want, it was a bit of a struggle. And I think I went through a moment of I can't do this anymore. I'm just like, I don't think it's worth it. I don't think I'm helping enough people. I don't understand why I'm doing this. So I went through a program with this, and I actually came across programs like yours, Manuela, and also I came across a program that Kyle Stanley does, which is Lightsiders. and actually that, I started doing it, and kind of helped me to reflect the stressful factors. And then I started having these calls every 2 weeks with him and a group, and talking with a group of 20 different dentists. It was just a Zoom call on Friday evening with the majority of them in the States, and just sharing that.
It's the safe space that we were talking about, right? It's that space.
Yeah, having that safe space where you can share and no one is judging you. And it's such a outdated and conservative profession, right? And that patients don't allow you to make mistakes. They don't want to see you having a bad day. And also the rest of the industry doesn't really allow you to have that moment. So that helped me a lot, and I kind of went through it. So that was good. That was amazing. And probably one of the worst moments I had was just a year ago. That was probably one of the lowest in my life, where I had to go through a lot of difficult things with the war in Palestine, where I have family. I just had a newborn a month before, my first daughter. Then all the clinicals, someone complaining because had a pain on a crown was for me already like, oh my God, I'm going to lose my job. And then also with Global Dental Collective, things were not going well. We split ways with one of my business partners. So everything came in a month time. And that was basically one of the moments I had. I said, okay, I have to. I asked my wife, which she was still recovering from birth. It's like, okay, I need you to take over this situation, because I'm like, I can't function. I just literally blocked. So I kind of did a very strong therapy, and helped me to reconnect and to reset, and then still obviously recovering, but also this events, the community kind of helped, and I think now I'm much better than a year ago, but still recovering.
Yeah, because your role is much needed, but we'll talk about one of that. Something about that soon, because your role and things like Global Dental Collective, they are needed. You have to be aware of that. They are really needed. Changing gears a little bit. So how do you see this all, because you live in London, this all NHS thing, the transition that so many dentists are doing from NHS to private practices, and the struggles that dentistry, particularly in the UK, is facing. How do you see all that? Because I think that's like a hot topic at the moment in UK, right?
Yeah. You're gonna put me in a problem there, but I'll give my I'll give my opinion. Well, I think honestly, I think NHS it's a very generous system, but unfortunately, it's not sustainable. It's impossible to maintain. The design that was done and the idea that how it was created, the NHS dentistry years ago, shifted, and I honestly don't see a solution. So it's I think it collapsed years ago, but obviously COVID made it faster. And right now, exactly, I mean, people want to make a living out of it, and the better NHS dentistry you want to do, the less money you make, and basically people can't really do what they want to do. So it's very normal. I can see that NHS is going to shift to private dentistry. I think preventative dentistry needs to be way stronger. I think measures to eradicate sugar consumption or it's just as simple as that. Needs to be in place, way stronger. I still see hundreds of thousands of kids exposed to have a terrible dentition through the years, and then we blame the dentist, we blame the system. At the end of the day, we're not giving enough tools to the population to avoid having these issues. Accidents can happen and then she should be covered, right? But all this day-to-day dentistry that can be avoided and that can be avoided with education and eradicating, just one of the things that I think is key is, for example, sugar and a better diet. This is one of the probably the solutions to reduce patients in the NHS, because this is the idea. We need to reduce the amount of people using NHS and any national healthcare system in the world. But I have an idea about healthcare in the world, which is probably not the best usage of it. And I think obviously we all know that there is a lot of interest for people still getting ill and sick, and this is basically what needs to happen. So of course now, like you can see, corporates taking over, insurances are going to take over, as happened probably in other countries like in Spain. They're going to provide these services to patients where they're going to be paying a monthly subscription, and they will be accessing to these treatments that NHS can provide. So they'll get it into under an insurance system, which we can see in Spain that also didn't help much. So let's see.
Yeah, and how do you see this whole trend towards easy fix cosmetics that's being so heavily marketed in not only in dentistry but in cosmetic medicine? And also, of course, that's very driven by social media. How do you see this? Is this good? Is this bad? Is this probably something that we could not avoid? Is this just a transition period that eventually it will be balanced between health and cosmetics? Because as you were saying, prevention in dentistry is very simple. The concept is very simple. You just reduce the sugars. But do you think that this trend towards aesthetics and cosmetics, do you think this is transitional, or do you think this is just a place where no return? Because I see that the balance is not very good. I think that we would probably need something more health-based than instead of so much cosmetic dentistry-based. Because even I see the young dentists coming out, they heavily market themselves based on cosmetic dentistry alone, And for me personally, I think this is not sustainable, not only from a business point of view, but especially from a mindset and mental health point of view. I think that, at least for me, one of the best ways out of this rabbit hole is to see dentistry more as medicine rather than as cosmetic medicine. What are your thoughts about that?
I hate the word cosmetic dentistry. I think it's. I don't think it's making any favor to the industry, to the patients or herself. I don't think is understood, and I don't think is used properly. And cosmetic or aesthetic, if you also, we like to say that aesthetic is more biomimetic dentistry, right? We're just basically recreating nature in a beautiful way, but any of the two used as just putting in the same bag dentistry than hairdressers or makeup artists, with all the respect, which I love these professions, but they are professions that they most of the times they can have reversible treatments, right? So you do your hair, you do your nails, and most of the times you don't like it, you just wait and grows again, or the nails come up again, or the makeup, you just remove it and that's it. But in cosmetic dentistry, this doesn't exist. Once you do any minimum treatment on the tooth, is irreversible, and once you touch it, it needs to be kept touched the rest of your life. So I think as you said, something very interesting that you said is like, we need to bring, and there's a huge movement around the world, and I'm very proud of it, of people trying to bring the mouth into the body and connecting the mouth with the rest of the body. And that's step number one. And step number two is as industry, knowing that, the secondary effect of a good treatment and a good comprehensive treatment, it's a nice cosmetic result, if you want to call it cosmetic. But we can't do cosmetic dentistry by itself. It just doesn't work. It's not sustainable and has a caducity time. So as far as we make people aware of it, but cosmetic dentistry, unfortunately, right now the fashion is having, Hollywood and the media decided or the TV shows decided that super white teeth is the cool bit. Like it was, the big lips or pointy hair at some point, or big shoulders on the jackets. Now is very white, big teeth. So let's see, it's a little bit of a mix. I think it's a mix of what the industries of fashion want us to consume, and it's also a little bit of what our responsibility on saying, okay, here is the limit. This is what we can do, and this is what we can't allow to do.
Andrea, I don't know if you want to say something else because I'm changing subjects.
No, it's fun. I completely agree with you, and I think that we are in a very I don't know if it's a turning point or if it is a critical point, but I think that the times that we are living, it seems I have this notion that something is about to shift because it has to, because it's and this is a point that I always bring up. It's of course in the patient's interest, of course, but it's also in terms of the mental health of dentists, because I don't think this race to the bottom is sustainable throughout a career. I think if you don't base your dentistry on the patient's best interest, I think you'll burn out much faster, and you will eventually be eaten by the profession. You'll be completely fed up with the profession because at the end of the day, I think humans are wired to help others. And if you don't have this strong feeling that you are really helping someone in the most, of course that you're paid to do this, but if you are not connected to something that is this patient's best interest, I think you will not be happy with the profession if everything is based on cosmetics and just focus on bringing patients through social media and just come to me because I will make you look good. I think that's a very tricky and a very dangerous way of getting patients to you, because there's always a catch. They will always bring you a catch with them. Well, yes, I agree with
you. I mean, I think you'll have to be aware of the kind of patients that you'll get, and if this is the kind of dentistry that you want to do, then I mean, no one is stopping it, so it's not like you're doing something illegal at all.
Yeah. But it's very interesting because I when I think to myself, and of course you can say, well, everybody's different. There are many people that are happy with this, and I don't want to call it, but I will call it this very shallow patients, right? But I think that at the end of the day, we are all humans, and I think that if you don't have that even the slightest human connection with the patient, that the patient feels that you are doing something good for them, and if the relationship is based on cosmetics, I think it's very very it's very easy to that the professional relation falls apart, and that there is problems, that there are issues, litigation, stuff like that. If you don't have time to make, and I understand that in the UK it's different. That I mean, you were born in Spain, and people are different, patients are different. But even still, I think that needs to be that human factor. At the end of the day, you are a healthcare provider, and as you well said, you are not a hairdresser, with all due respect. But hairdressers, they do what they are told to do. I want to have my hair blue, so you'll paint it blue. But it's very easy to burn out in those sorts of professions. I mean, if you talk to a hairdresser that has been in the game for long enough, it's very similar in a way to dentistry. They easily burn out very quickly because they are always trying to please someone that sometimes it's impossible to please. And I think that in the long term with dentistry, and if we mix that with all the other things that we know about dentistry, and there's a friend of mine, Alok, he says that dentistry is a bunch of people, is a bunch of scared people inside four walls with a bunch of people with sharp instruments. So it has a recipe for disaster. And if you had that, the fact that someone is coming in because they want to look good, or they want to look like Angelina Jolie or like Brad Pitt, because some of these patients, that's the kind of pressure that they bring to you. The relationship starts to be very shallow, very superficial, very, very fake. And I don't think, even if someone is completely different from me, I think that in the long term, you are going to pay the price mentally from that. That's what I think. That's the thing that I see in the long term. And I think that most of the people that work a lot into cosmetic dentistry, you will see that during their evolution of their career, and you have typical examples like, for example, Christian Kochman is much more into comprehensive dentistry. Carl Stanley is much more into mental health, because I think these people realize that it's not sustainable to live dentistry from an aesthetic point of view. It's not mentally sustainable. This is the way that I see it. And I'm sure if you
no. I mean, you can see it when people have like amazing teeth and they age, the rest of the body age terrible, no? And you can see like that person that is like destroyed from any possible angles, terrible posture, terrible skin, still smoker, but super cool teeth, and it's like, okay, this doesn't feel right. So yeah, I agree with you.
So, Mehy, the kind of discussion that you want to bring to the public and to the dentistry community with Global Dental Collective is still very limited, and of course, it's still not structured in the pre-grad training. I don't know how is it in England, because I know that in the UK maybe a little bit more ahead, but I think in the rest of Europe, no. So subjects like communication, dealing with expectations, perfectionism, not over-promising, mindset, all of those subjects that we talked about here in the podcast. You are doing it also in Global Dental Collective. Do you see that as something possible in the future for these subjects to be structured in the teaching in the university, or do you think also from another point of view that are students ready to be exposed to this information? Because, for example, I'm going to give you my example. I'm going to have two courses in two different universities in Portugal. One is a 2-day course about mindfulness in dentistry, and another one is soft skills in dentistry. One in Coimbra and another one in Lisboa. And we make special prices for students. And the fact is that they are still not interested on that, because their main focus is on the technical part. And I myself, I usually have colleagues approaching me, the younger ones, when they are about 1 year of the profession, when they start to see, okay, wait, I need something more than the technique. So what is your opinion about that? Do you think that in the future this subjects will be part of the pregraduates in the universities, or there is no space for that? Or maybe there is even no they are not available still for that kind of information, because the technical part is also overwhelming in industry.
Yeah, that's a very, very good question, to be honest. And I think the students should be exposed to be ready to what they're going to encounter. Mm-hmm, and I think they should be ready to understand what is this profession about. I think they should be exposed to, you're going to have a hard time, but there are tools available, and this is where you should get them when the time arrives. The problem is that right now we just, tell them this is a great day, you have to, there's a mouth, this is the patient will open, you put anesthesia, do the fitting, charge him, and that's it. And if they have pain, then X, Y, Z. But there is a lot of things around it. And it's like, well, how to talk to your nurse, how to talk to your boss, how to present yourself, how to go home and disconnect. So I think there are things that obviously experience will tell you and will show you. But I think it's crucial to show the place where to go to these students. And this is where universities, they should be ready, and they should be, not sure, as you said, an undergrad, because an undergrad, even if you show him the best surgery in the world, they're not going to understand it. We right now, I'm helping King's College to put a series of events during the year, and actually a week after Dentorama, I'm speaking with Kristen Coachman in front of 400 students, and we are exposing is about exposing them to what they can achieve and what is what they should look at. As a little bit putting a seed to this is what exists out there. And I'm from the belief that if you don't know about it, you will never do it. And I probably, if someone exposed to me design or how things are created when I was in high school, probably I would have picked that career. So if someone exposed to you, this is the best dentistry, comprehensive dentistry, for example, that you can achieve, even though now you don't probably know what it is about. You might even think like, which dots, which, you I don't know if you've done it, but I remember shadowing amazing professionals, endodontists, periodontists, restorative dentists, and I was getting so bored because I didn't really, you don't understand what you're seeing, and it takes time. And as you said, probably it's hard to do some kind of psychology subject about how to deal with a patient, because number one, you'll forget it. For me, university, the way that, for me, like the way things are taught in university is a little bit hard for me, and the way I learn. And I don't think I've used much of what I learned in 5 years of my career. But it's true that they influenced a lot the way I am and the way I practice. So probably not giving these super technical points, but at least make people understand, look, you're going to go through this. Don't worry, when you go there's this, and build these communities, there's these programs, these communities, these courses, but just make people aware what is going to happen and where you can go. Because right now it's like, they're making the students feel like, oh no, this is fine, no worries, this is bullshit, no, you'll be okay, nothing wrong is happening. It's a great profession. Just work 8 hours and do as many fittings as you can, and then do as many this as you can.
It comes with experience. That's what I hear a lot in the university.
It comes with experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, they do. They say that. Yeah, of course. It comes with experience. But, maybe your experience is very bad. I mean, you might not know what to do, and you might not have the tools. It's about tools. If you don't have the tools, you might go through it, and maybe you're lucky enough that in your house and your parents and you have a super structured family that they decided to give you these tools as a kid. But if you don't, what do you do then? How do you know that you have a problem of communication? How do you know?
Yeah.
How do you know that you have a problem of management? How do you know that you shouldn't shout at your nurse? Or how do you know that, it's how do you know that it's okay to get paid misery? So are those things that I think it should be like, it's probably like a civic. I don't know if there is this subject. Sometimes some schools they have it, and there's like a civic education. How to basically interact in society. What you should be doing. If you see a light on red, you probably need to stop. You see, so just basic notions. If you feel in that way, it's normal. So probably you should do this. It's just notions. I don't think you should go very heavy, because, as you said, you might not even know what you're talking about. As anything, your kids, anyway, they're kids, 20-year-old kid. I mean,
you said something that grabbed my attention, which is maybe you grew up in a family that was highly structured and gave you all those tools. And I see I'm thinking about three kinds of people. So number one was those lucky ones that grew up parents that really start to teach you emotional intelligence from scratch. And if I ever become a father, that's the thing that I would like to try to do. It's very difficult, right? Or maybe you were born from parents that were extremely conscious and very balanced, and that was just the normal for you, just to be emotionally intelligent, which is very rare. And then number two is people, and probably you are, and all of the three of us, we are into this second group, which is we thought that was something missing, and we went to learn it. Right? You would look. There needs to be a way that I can improve myself, and I am not a fate of my genes. So there's something I can do about that. But you did it from your own, right? And the third group is, and I think that people like us, we tend to underestimate this, which is there are many people that are not even aware that you can change yourself. You know what I mean? And I think that we often overlook this, and we often believe that actually, no, most people, they just want to improve themselves. They are aware that something is missing. They just want to improve themselves. But what I realize is that actually there are many people that they feel the situation, but for some reason, they just believe that I mean, this is just the way that I am. There's nothing that I can do about that. And this is why I was telling you that, and for me, this is something that I feel sometimes, which is in those days that I'm more tired, and this is also the reason that we do the podcast, me and Manuel. I think that we do this for the sake of it, right? Because at the end of the day, if you help even someone in Spain or in France that just listen to the podcast, well, actually, there's something I can do about myself. There's something that I can grow, because sometimes people, they are not aware of that. So whatever you are doing at the Global Dental Collective, in your worst days, just remember that. Trust me, remember that the stuff that you're doing is important, is more important than what we think it is. So
yeah, and this is what makes me keep going. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So if you had someone like a younger brother or a younger sister or someone in your family that was starting dentistry at uni, what would be the conversation that you'd have with them? I mean, is it too early to have that conversation? Would you wait for them to finish the course? What would you say?
Well, I would first ask them if they really want to do it because they like dentistry, or what is the reason. Because I truly believe dentistry is a safe bet for a lot of people. A lot of people that they probably couldn't do a more difficult career, let's say, or on paper, a more complicated or longer career, like probably medicine, or a lot of people, as I said, that they didn't know any better, or coming from a background of doctors, and so
sometimes for the financial reason also.
Financial reasons, as I said, is a safe bet, right? There is no dentist without a job that I know. So this is the question number one. Why are you doing this? And this is a little bit like a marriage. Getting married doesn't make things better. So just make sure that, all the problems and the reasons of why you're doing this are there. And you might not know, which is great. If you're just like, I want to explore, fantastic. But, it's never late to try something else. And if you like it and this is what you think you can do, then it's an incredible profession. It's a very, very beautiful profession where there are no shortcuts. And there is no way of getting from A to Z in less years. Then there is no way. You need to allow yourself to make mistakes without harming anyone. And once you find what you like in dentistry, go for it. It's the incredible thing of dentistry is that you can do many things in the profession. And something else, you might find endodontist very boring and very unsexy, but you might regret on your later, and you might want to be an endodontist because you see that, gosh, it's so comfortable. So it's like, don't put aside endodontist because it doesn't look very cool, but trust me, after that, they are the kings of the game, no? I don't know what you think about this, but now I see my endodontist coming in and out.
I completely agree with you.
Yeah?
I think we all start to hate endo, but then actually, these guys, they get it sooner than we did. They understood it.
They understood it. They're like, you go, do your artistic bit, complicate yourself. I'm gonna go there here.
I'm just gonna hear, and just listen to my playlist, and I'll be fine.
Exactly.
Not a
Put
problem.
the rubber down there. Guy can't talk. Send it back. You did with it. You did with a beautiful crown. I've done my thing. Exactly. So that's what I would say. Don't put the endo aside. It might be actually the best thing you can do. Not like George, Andre, and me overcomplicating our life.
Absolutely.
You might not be, you might not have too many followers, but it's fine. You like it, you want that.
Mehy, do you have a vision for a global dental collective in the future, or are you just riding the wave and see how it goes organically? Because you mentioned in the beginning that things have been evolving and they're always changing. Do you have a vision of what you want it to be in the future?
I had a vision since the beginning of my career on building community, and it wasn't in this way. It was more in a creating from creating scraps. My vision was doing something like what Figs does, which is creating communities of how cool you look wearing your clothes. And this is what actually something I had in my mind 10 years ago. So I kind of everything is going back to building a community, and I can envision a very big international community of young professionals trying to make a change and enjoying in these unconventional events around the world. So yeah, things are happening. Very interesting conversations are happening. I don't want to jinx anything, but we want to connect people around the world. Let's put it in that way, and give them a platform. And I think we're into something. So yeah, let's see. But for now, we did ride the wave for 2 years now, almost 3. And it's been a huge roller coaster. Days what George Andres, you're a surfer now, so you know the days that you go and there are no waves. There are days that you think the waves are amazing and you can't catch any of them. And some days that you go without any expectation and you had the best day of your life. So we've been through that. Now I think it's time to reflect and see next steps. But yeah, definitely after Dentorama, we are going to try to evolve to something else.
We are your fans, really. I think that you're doing is so noble, so fresh, so good, so cool. Everybody that I come across that talks about Global Dental Collective, this is just so well done. It's so cool.
Thank you.
And do you see yourself doing dentistry for the rest of your life? Because one thing which is, if you are into the branch of dentistry, whatever that is, even the outside clinical dentistry, it's good to have a little bit of skin in the game, right? But would you ever see yourself? For example, I give a lot of I do a lot of courses and stuff like that, and some people tell, look, you should only do teaching. I was like, no, I should be in the arena struggling and getting my mandible knocked out, because I want that's where the richness of teaching comes from the struggle. And so look, this is the shitty work that I do because I was just completely unaware of this and that. But would you ever completely get away from dentistry? Because you said that you are a very creative guy, right? Would you ever completely stop dentistry?
Some days I arrive home. Some days I arrive home and yes, I'm not. That's it. This is my last day, for sure. But you know what? And I always thought I would. To be honest, I would not do dentistry forever. But I meet so many cool people, and I'm very lucky that I work in a very cool clinic, and I meet very, very interesting people from all the different industries. And being a dentist in London can be very, very cool. So that human connection, and it's still just when things go well, it's just it's very satisfying, and to be honest, we complain a lot, but 99% of the times things go well. It's not.
Yes, that's it. Yes.
It's not like I don't. To be honest, I didn't.
But
I didn't
it's
have
the
a complaint in my
1%.
life.
It's the 1% that keeps you awake. Yeah.
Because we're not ready. Because we're not ready.
We have a podcast, and we recorded that, or I think we've recorded that, which is the unvalued benefits of being a dentist, isn't it? Something like that. And it's true. I mean, dentistry can be so cool. I mean, you work in London. I mean, you said that you work in a cool practice. You meet interesting people. And if you look at the bright side of dentistry, there's just it can be so cool. It can be, you meet people, you interact with people.
Once you get to the point where you know what you're doing, number one, you have the right tools and
you know why you are doing it also.
and you know how to manage expectations, and your communication skills are top, there's not much to worry. Once you know how to handle all this, then dentistry becomes very cool. And if you're lucky enough to do the dentistry that you want to do, and that is specific things that actually you're excited about, then it's amazing. It's just a bit hard to get there. And there are a lot of ingredients, and sometimes you need to open your own clinic. That's another addition of complexities. But I be honest with you, I'm an associate. I don't own my own clinic, and I'm in a very sweet spot where I can practice the dentistry I want. I meet super cool people. I ride to work 15 minutes back. I practice dentistry 3 days a week, which for me is a very good balance. But to get there, obviously, you need to figure out a lot of things. So I think it's like, if after, you need to, again, you need to try, see what you like, see what you never like. But if you get to that point, dentistry is very cool, and it's they pay us very well. It's an industry that we can't complain. You can make more or less. It's a good profession, and you can do it anywhere in the world. Anywhere, a dentist is needed anywhere in the world. You might have to do. If you go to the States, or if you come now to UK, it might be a bit more complicated. If you're lucky enough to be in Europe, you can almost jump from country to another. You just need to learn the language. Wow, you can practice dentistry anywhere. Which, there are not many professions that you can do that. So
that's a very good message. Yeah. That's a very good message, because I think that sometimes when you talk too much about the problems, it seems like dentistry is just one big problem, and actually it's not. It's like dentistry is like one good damn of a profession, and it has some problems, but overall it can be very cool. And again, let me congratulate you, because you took the time. You have, you could be in the safety of your clinical practice on your balance, but you took the time to be sharing something, and just that will, and that drive that you have to be able to share and to be able to expose people to the struggles that they need to face in dentistry. You have to remember that people need that, and sometimes they need more than what we think that they need. And they may not seem that they need it, but sometimes the right word at the right time, the right event can really make a big difference in someone's life. So in those worst moments, just keep it up, because what you are doing is really special. There's nowhere in the world, trust me, there's no... You see some things in the US, but there's nothing like Global Dental Collective at this point in time for what I've seen. Really, it's such... The taste is so good. It's such well drawn. So congratulations for that.
Thank you.
Tell the ones that are listening to us, how can they find Global Dental Collective if they want to know more? If they want to attend one of the events, how can they find?
Or just Global Dental Collective is the website. Global Dental Collective. There you can have information about the events. Also on Instagram, they can find us through Global Dental Collective. And next event is in October 18th in London. It's a Friday evening. We have people flying from Portugal, so there's no excuse. We have George Andre coming the same day, but also we have some attendees that they've been coming from previous years, and now they are fans. So it's an easy flight, Porto or Lisbon to London. So we are there. We're very active on social media. As if you follow us, you'll see that. We try to bring some education, talk about the events, talk about what we learn on these days, and so online for now. Maybe we're exploring new routes of communicating with the community, but for now, online is the way.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I will leave all the contacts also on the episode notes for the ones that are interested.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for spending your time with us on this evening.
It was lovely to meet you, and all Keep up the good work. It's very needed in dentistry. Congratulations, and thank you so much for your time.
Likewise, your guys very inspiring. So thank you for your work.
Thank you for listening to the Soft Bites podcast. We would love to hear your thoughts on this episode. Please leave a comment or connect with us on social media. Your comments and messages will help us to know you and our profession a little bit better so that we can offer real value in return. And if you like it, please subscribe. If you want to learn how to be a leader and drive change in dentistry, take a look at our Conscience Leadership course at softbites.online.